Just trying to let everybody get in the building. But you know what this is. Another installment of Easily Rigged. Be easy, that dude. I will be joined by my counterpart soon. And whoever is going to grace us in the chat today, it looks like we already have Setting the Record Straight Network. So shout out to them. Shout out to Daryl Long, M3, everyone that plans to come through, because this is going to be a very fruitful stream. But that's usually how we do it on Easily Rigged. This is nothing new. Y'all know how we get down. But as soon as you come in the building, let me do my housekeeping. As soon as you come in the building, you know, some places you got to take your shoes off or wipe your feet at the doormat. When you come here, the housekeeping is you like, you share, you subscribe, and comment. So you got to give us at least 2 out of the 4. Like and comment, you know, drop a what's up, a fiery emoji, 100. If you don't like what you're seeing and hearing, then go ahead and voice your displeasure. But while we are waiting for everyone to get in, I'm going to go ahead and hit y'all with this.
They holler who that is, hanging all out the window. These boys and they going off the endo. Where they from? DP's ball out on Miller Park. They go jump up in them scrapers. See them coming up the block.
Bill Clinton going dumb. All out the scraper. Stunner boys here. Mission is the major. Watch your girl before I take her, cause I'm on the strip shining.
We don't move like no clown.
But boy, it's big time. And lead a block to my youngster, cause boy, it's big grinding. 20-inch rims. Freaks on film. She eat her while she eat him. You already know who game tougher than leather. We throw parties that go dumber than ever. Young niggas wildin' out, shaking they dreads. Boy, is you biz or is you smack? Cause you all out the window with a face of a triple stack. I'm money hungry, plus I need all mine. Rigs on the beat, you gon' see our shine. Why you think they call us a dummy foe? Cause we stunt and we stunt hanging out the dope.
They holler who that is, hanging all out the window. These Thunder boys and they going off the endo. Where they from? DP's ball out on Miller Park. They go jump up in them scrapers. See them coming up the block. They holler who that is, hanging all out the window. It's the Thunder boys and they going off the endo. Where they from? DP's ball out on Miller Park. They go jump up in them scrapers. See them coming up the block.
Every time I hit the block, boom, drop the stuck time. Candy on them death things, bumping for one time. I'ma do the fool like I'm mental and ignorant. Jumping at a stop sign while I ain't giving it. Throwing up the block cause you know when I'm feeling it. We ghost ride the whip like we ain't even feeling shit. High feed, call a stunner boy. Tennis shoe every whip, now who's stunting boy? At every function, sideshow, neighborhood event. You catch me dipping in the scraper with the 16-inch flip. Reppin' PA, Menlo, Northern Cali finest. If I'm scraping past $1, mean the police right behind us. We don't care, we going on big perp and X pills. Stunner boys, they stunting the block on big wheels. Get big skrills, cause they ain't fucking with us. We in the building and we feeling like nigga with us.
They holler who that is, hanging all out the window. These Thunder boys and they going off the endo. Where they from? DP's ball out on Miller Park. They go jump up in them scrapers. See them coming up the block. They holler who that is, hanging all out the window. It's the Thunder boys and they going off the endo. Where they from? DP's ball out on Miller Park. They go jump up in them scrapers. See them coming up the block.
I got a few of my young niggas all out the window. Stunting up the block, niggas know what they info. We did we smacked, our rims are stacked. Plus we smoking on that perp weed, leaning back. They know we coming up the block, holding the meanest stats. When you stunt like them stunners, you get mean with raps. Candy paints on the model, we mean at that. Bumping nothing less than 15s and holding a zap.
And we'll teach you how to stunt. All through the bay, we ride candy and bump. When we come, the show shut down. No field goals, all touchdowns. Police come, we beat goes down. High speed and run them through the whole town and get away. I'm not locked like Akon, supercharged kick, running on stop
They holler
sign.
who that is, hanging all out the window. These Thunder boys and they going off the endo. Where they from? DP's ball out on Miller Park. They go jump up in them scrapers. See them coming up the
Yeah. Hey. See that dude, yeah. Shit so hot it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. There's a lot of niggas that say they real. To me that shit is far-fetched.
It's the definition of adrenaline rush. What it do is sweet like cinnamon puffin'. My niggas is rough like Willow Pass. Grew up out on Mary Mac, but I used to hang on Willow Pass. These hoes that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. For the zip lips when you get hit. When the fifth spit, flatline in your bitch hit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like Goku. For the cocaine, they go cuckoo.
You are now tuned into another installment of Easily Rigged. Dad dude, Big Rig slaps two of the dopest to ever do it, you feel me? Put some respect on their name.
So what it do? Easily rigged up in this thing. Shout out to M3. Shout out to the chat. Let's see who we got in the building. So setting the record straight network is in the building. Shout out to this network. Go ahead and subscribe. They're putting out some substantive content, entertaining content. And we got none other than Joe to Go. Joe to Go was good, bruh. And then he says, low riders and LA women. Yes, sir. Good to see you. Yeah, we're glad to have you stop through, Joe to Go. And we got none other than Intrepidus. What's up, Intrepidus? And Big Rig Slaps needs us to drop the link. Looks like the link is in the chat already, so you should be able to go ahead and join. And it says, we got to do better, bro. Got to drop the link in the chat, man. I don't know what you're referring to doing better, but you could come in. You got to do better and be able to click on the link from your Instagram. Everybody else could click on the link. But yeah, so go ahead. The link is in the chat, and we haven't even got started yet, but we are going to get right into it. So, Big Rig, you here?
Yeah, I'm up in here.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, we just getting started, and we got John saying it's up. And you know, we always send you the link to the thing, you know what I mean? But you know,
Yeah,
we try.
that don't work for me, man. Ever since day one, I've been, kind of trying to let that be known that don't work for me, brother. I'm using my phone, so I got to get it from the YouTube link. When I try to do it from that other link, it's sending me through hoops and hurdles, man, and I never get nowhere.
Yeah, no, I could dig it. But yeah, it's the regular routine. Just always, I always will get the intro started and drop the link, from there, try to avoid it just for, for the trolls and got to go back and delete shit, etc. But it looks like we already good and we already rocking. M3, you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm there, bro. I'm gonna be up there for a minute, just multitasking, make sure everything's in line.
Okay,
Let me
cool.
turn the music down just a little bit. I'll turn it down tonight. All right, is this good, you guys?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
cool.
Okay, for sure. Anyways, man, what's good, everyone?
Man, not too much. We here on another late night, easily rigged. And the topic, we just gonna get right into it. Whenever we late, we just kind of jump right into it because we understand we got people with different time differences. And even the people on the West Coast, people have kids and need to go to bed early. So the topic as it reads at the bottom, hold on, let me just go ahead and add this simplified one. Is it pointless for men to cold approach? So some would say yes, others would say cold approaching is the only way to do it. So let's just go through a couple quick advantages and disadvantages just on the surface level so we can spark the discussion on. So some advantages is people get the opportunity to meet new people. Cold approaching can be an effective way to expand your social circle and meet people that you might not otherwise encounter in your daily life. It also will help you overcome shyness and build confidence in yourself if it's done appropriately and effectively. Approaching women you don't know can be a bit nerve-wracking and make some people anxious, but it could also be an excellent opportunity for you to practice on your social skills, your level of articulation, how to be eloquent and assertive tactfully with your speech. Also, it leaves a potential for a romantic or sexual connection. Cold approaching can lead to these type of encounters, which could be exciting and fulfilling for both parties. Now, those are just some surface level advantages. Of course, there's more, but we're just trying to do a preface to the topic. And the disadvantages is, the risk of rejection. Of course, you run the risk of rejection with anything. Life is, succeeding and failing. So rejecting or being rejected is a form of failure, but it doesn't mean that you're a complete and total failure. You're supposed to learn from your failure and come back bigger, better, stronger. So cold approaching women, typically what some people say is a numbers game. You're going to face rejection for many, really the majority of the women you approach, and this can be discouraging and lead to feelings of insecurity and low self-esteem. Also, people run the risk of coming off as creepy or harassing. In this Me Too era, a lot of people are cognizant of that and fearful of approaching a woman because certain innuendos and advances may be seen as inappropriate or overly aggressive, and it can lead to negative social consequences and potential legal consequences. And another one is safety concerns. Women may feel uncomfortable, and this kind of ties back into the second one. Women may feel uncomfortable or unsafe when approached by strangers, especially with your stature. If you're really big and burly, or, you kind of have some sort of demented, deranged look to you. Of course, that can be subjective, but, if you're not groomed or you just have a particular aura about you, some women may not be safe or comfortable engaging in a dialogue with you. So it's essential to be mindful about, the safety concerns of others. Approach them with respect and consideration for their boundaries and consent. And this is not just for their safety, it's for yours as well. So you don't get caught up get me too'd and face some sort of legal ramifications. So I'm gonna
Excuse me,
go.
business. Don't
Yeah.
forget to add the asterisk to it, because there are some stipulations. Just depending, it's vary.
Well, of course, yeah. This is just a generalized preface. Nothing I'm saying is absolute, and that's why I was just setting it up as a preface to the discussion so that we can dig into the nuances. I'm
Okay,
just
I
leaving.
gotta keep it 100, bro.
Yeah.
I really don't. I've never heard a cold approach. I'm trying to hear you and how you're talking about it, but I'm still not really feeling it out. Is a cold approach just meaning just getting at somebody just like period, just physical, regular? Is that a cold approach? I mean, what's a cold approach? Can you give me an example of a cold approach?
Okay. So a cold approach is so. Let me just bring it to the professional setting first. So let's just say you're in a office setting. If I know Big Rig and I call him to say, "Hey, Big Rig, I need you to do this project for me." I already know you. I've already built a rapport and a relationship with you. So that would be me contacting like a existing or a previous customer. Now, if I call M3 before and I never talk to him, I don't know anything about him, I would be cold calling M3 because I'm trying to say, "Hey, M3, let me introduce myself. This is what I have to offer." And that's pretty much what cold approaching is. So when you're out at the mall or whatever location and you see someone and then you just go over there and walk up to them, it's just really human contact. You know what I mean? We grew up just hollering at people, hey, interacting with people, saying hi. But a cold approach is approaching a stranger that you know nothing about and that knows nothing about you and engaging in a conversation with them. Typically, it's for a date or romantic sexual connection, but cold approaching is not only limited to those types of relationships. People do it in business as well. If they're trying to get donors or sponsors, they make cold approach and say, "Hey, I'm Big Rick Slaps. This is my business. I was wondering if you'd like to make a donation." You calling someone that you don't know, reaching out and approaching people you don't know is considered a cold approach. Was that detailed enough for you, Big Rig, or are you still kind of confused?
I'm kind of getting it, bro. I'm kind of thinking it's more of like networking.
It can be networking. I mean, it
I
could
mean, if you're
be
gonna use it in a
on
sense
a
as in
semantic.
business, I would take that as networking. If you're gonna use it in a sense as in a relationship, that's just like you just seeing somebody you like and you just kind of walking up on them and shooting your shot.
It's like
Correct.
the term. Oh, I'm sorry.
So is that the cold approach?
Correct. Shooting your shot. It like I was gonna say, and I'm gonna let you get in right after this, M3.
Yeah, no
It's
problem.
a form of semantics. Shooting your shot can be a cold approach, but shooting your shot doesn't mean that it's a cold approach. It can be someone that you've known for 10 years, and then you shoot your shot at them and say, "Hey, look, we've known each other for years. Let's try to make this work out." That wouldn't be considered a cold approach. It would
No,
be
because you
considered
know them.
shooting
This is you're talking about somebody you
correct.
don't know.
Correct.
Right, right. So like if you just at the mall or something, you just see somebody you ain't never seen them in your life, but they done caught your attention and you just, hey, how's it going? Whoopty wop, whatever. That's a cold approach.
Correct.
Okay, I got you.
Go ahead, M3.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old school equivalent when the boys used to say, "Hey, look, man, this is a fine girl out there. Yo, go holler at her, bro. Go holler at her, man." And you either accept the challenge or you don't. But I mean, just the term code itself is like without anything that's unscripted. Sorry, anything that's like unscripted, you just pretty much walking up to them and having a conversation. So yeah, it could be many like definitions, different terms. You can use that for business, especially you don't really know the person and you're just trying to be the first to carry that type of conversation. But most of the time when people hear the word cold approach, they're really referring to like, all right, men of today now these days, um, whether if you're going to pretty much take a chance and introduce yourself to an unknown stranger, you know what I mean? Or, you just pretty much fall back. So that's pretty much what cold approach is. It is basically like shooting your shot a little bit.
Correct. Yeah. Shooting your shot. Like I said, there's forms of semantics, right? And there's
Hmm.
different levels of it. And shout out to me, have Donut. And he said cold means first impression. That's pretty much really what it means, at least in business terms. But it does mean that in the dating field as well, because he says cold means you never met, the super first time meeting. And a lot of these terms are confusing, Big Rig, for people that don't use that terminology, because a lot of people just grew up as either you had it in you or you didn't. Either you got chicks or you didn't. Either you was popular or you was unpopular. Now there's a lot of terminology that people may not understand and people misrepresent and misconstrue. Red pill, blue pill, purple pill, black pill, beta, sigma, alpha, all of these terms that if you ask multiple people, they have their own definitions of it, and they don't have a clear, definitive, monolithic definition of it. People just kind of take the parts out that they don't like and add parts in that they do like. So, to get to the overall discussion, is it pointless to cold approach? And I'm gonna go to Big Rig first. So, based on the description and your understanding of cold approaching, shooting your shot, is it pointless for men to do that? And whether you at a car show, whether you're at the mall, whatever setting, and you see a nice looking shawty and you saying, man, she is beautiful, she is attractive, I want to shoot my shot. Do you stand there nervously and say, no, she's not gonna like me? Or do you just go over there and say, hey man, I'm gonna just put my bid in and see what it do? Go ahead, Big Red.
Well, in all settings, I'll say this first. In all settings, no, it's not pointless. It's not pointless at all. I was just, I would say, what's it called? Cold what? Cold,
Cold approach.
cold approach. I was just pretty much doing that in a business way. Just this last weekend with my boy in his business. Just people walking by. I would just strike conversation with them. You know what I'm saying, to get them to come through to where we was at and to come spend with us. You know what I'm saying? And that was
That's
just,
definitely a cold approach.
yeah, for sure. So I was doing that a lot. You know what I'm saying? And was making sales. You feel me? So I'm all for that. When it comes to a relationship wise, for some it may be hard. Um, as for me, I really was never one to really be the type to be like, hey, girl, whoop whoop, and you know what I'm saying. But as in like being in the space and maybe say whatever area we may be in, I may strike up a conversation. Say we may be at the store or something. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? That they trying to get a little bit too much for that item or something. Strike up a little conversation. You know what I'm saying? But so just all around with the cold approach, now understanding what that means, I think it's a good idea, man. I wouldn't consider it pointless at all.
So you think it's a good idea always, or just in certain situations?
Certain situations, man. You don't want to just be out there just cold approaching everybody. You know what I'm saying? You run across, some difficult people, man. But
Well, me Donut has a bit of a different opinion, and before I go to M3, I would like for you to respond. He says, it is honestly pointless. Yes, girls today are horrifyingly cruel when it comes to rejection, from ill to not interested within 2 seconds. You don't know my level. best to find a decent dating site?
Well, that's not all women, man. You know, I mean, you're gonna get people like that, but that's not all, and that's why I wouldn't consider it pointless. Because you know, in actuality, man, you never know what you may be missing. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said, like, the way
Yeah,
I
you
kind of
miss
come
all
about
of
it,
the shots that you don't take, right?
right? You know, and it's all on how you do it. You know, like how I said, if it's gonna be on some relationship or with a woman or something, you got to remember, man, these women hear the same shit all the time. You know, hey girl, you fine, or what's your number? I've never asked a girl for a number. You know what I'm saying? But gotten them just from conversation. It's just your approach. You know, you got to bring something different. Be a little bit organic with it. You know what I'm saying? And you probably won't get those type of responses, but you know, there's women that are going to give you those responses anyways because that's just what kind of time they on. So I wouldn't really consider it pointless because, like you just said too, you never know what you might be missing, bro.
Yeah, thanks for that answer, Big Rig. And like he says, don't panic, be organic. And shout out to OG Patrice in building. Greetings and salutations, sis. And let's see
Salute,
what
OG Chiefs.
he says. He said, I think that it is harder amongst this younger generation, and it is harder. There's a lady, I'm sure she's not the only one, but she was charging $500 an hour for young teens to teach them how to talk on the phone. So we grew up where everyone had a household and, hey, you've reached the Big Rig Slaps residence. You've reached the residence of Be Easy. If you'd like to leave a message, you know, so people had to formally speak. They had to also answer the phone. Hey, this is the Smith residence. How may I help you? Now, a lot of people just text. When it's your birthday, they send you a text. When you find out about tragic news, they send you a text. Unfortunately, not all, but many people do. So there are plenty of adults, but namely the teenagers is which I'm talking about, that don't even know how to answer the phone. I had hired a young lady before for a position, and she was nervous on answering the phones because she was so anxious. She really never did it. The only time she was answering a phone was from her friends and family members. So answering the phone to your family members is totally different than answering the phone for a business, and you have a certain script or prompts and you got to answer questions, you know, astutely and effectively. So many communication is a art, but it's becoming a very lost art form, unfortunately. So people that are not confident in themselves, they need to cold approach, not just for the hopes of hooking up and having some sexual encounter, but to build up your confidence, your esteem, and your intellect. Practice makes perfect. Steph Curry doesn't hit those threes because he doesn't practice on them. He shoots thousands of shots a day. And I'm not saying that, hey, you need to holler at thousands of women, but you need to read as many books as you can, read out loud, engage in meaningful, powerful discussions that test the boundaries of your vocabulary. If you just, yeah, you know what I mean, cuz, yada I mean, every sentence, what are you truly learning? You're just regurgitating certain verbiage that you already are familiar with. But the only way you grow is by embracing things that you're unfamiliar with. So when you hear somebody say a word, instead of saying, man, that's a big word, how about you just sound the word out and Google will correctly spell it for you and give you the definition? You should be learning. Yeah.
Not to even cut you off, B, because you know we done had, you know, these discussions like that on here before. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Just the other day, I was using the word like eluding and all kind of stuff, bro. I was like, I was like, way proud of myself, yeah.
Big rig, big words. Big rig, big words. Let's go. That's a new name. Ain't no longer Big Rig, Big Brothers. Big rig, big words. Let's get it.
I just had to throw that in there one time, man. Go ahead, though, bro.
Snap, bro. That
or big words, or immaculate, immaculating, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, that's great to hear, but that's what we here for, is to continuously learn and grow and get better. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So we're in the business of betterment. So that's what we promote, that's what we perpetuate. But let's get to the chat real quick before we bring Mr. Best in. My 17-year-old cousin went to a PC store the other day to get headphones. He left with a $2 mouse. I don't know why that is, but I'm sure there's more to that story. And Joe to Go says some of these teens are scared to ask for sauce at McDonald's. Well, in their defense, Joe, if you've seen some of these videos online, when you ask for sauce or you ask for a McFlurry, you might get two-pieced. And I ain't talking about nuggets.
Facts.
I've seen people getting beat up. Unfortunately, a brother lost his life because he gave a woman cold fries. The woman called her son. The dudes end up getting into a skirmish, and one of them end up getting shot and killed, all over a dude defending his mom because she got some cold fries from McDonald's that she shouldn't even been eating at. So some people are afraid to ask for sauce because there is a negative stigma about McDonald's workers that they will jump over the counter and put the mittens on you. Not all.
Hey, you said she shouldn't have been at that McDonald's in the first place, bro.
Definitely not.
That's what 84 told me yesterday.
Damn straight I did. You better stop eating that bullshit. I'm gonna keep telling you that shit.
Hey, I told you, bro. I like that high C orange drink, man. But you told me I gotta let that go too. You know what
shit,
I mean?
that shit don't like you, nigga. Let that shit go, please.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead and retire that drink, Big Red. Go ahead. But he also says, hold up. I don't even want to know how he managed that. Yeah, I don't want to know how he did it either. And he said, yeah, you had Joe to Go's comment before mine. It's about the shyness and the lack of social skills I meant teens have today. Oh, I understand. So he said, my 17-year-old cousin went to a PC store the other day to get headphones, but he left with a $2 mouse. What I think he's implying is that he's so afraid to ask for help. And I have seen this in stores too. You go to a certain store and it's like, hey, do you need help? Oh no, I'm fine. And then you look all around the store, every aisle. You know you need help. Why don't you just have the associate tell you where exactly the item is? But some people get so nervous with human contact. Even looking in the eyes, that's a form of disrespect. Now, of course, you don't need to blatantly stare, but there should be periods in the discussion where you're looking a person in the eye. If I'm having a serious discussion with you and you over here twiddling your thumbs and scrolling and trying to take selfies, I'm gonna just end the conversation, bro, because you're already being disrespectful of my time and my words. I don't do that to people. Same thing with handshakes. If you shake someone's hand, you're supposed to shake the right hand, depending on which hand they're extending. You're supposed to do an appropriate firm handshake. You're supposed to stand up. Even if you're sitting down, you're supposed to stand up and give someone a handshake. All of these things may seem subtle, but they are. Most of the language you communicate in is body language. So it's like 80-20, 70-30, depending on who you ask. And that's 80% body language. So if I say, yeah, Big Riggs is my nigga, but my head is down, I'm not looking at him, I'm hunched over, how convincing is that? But if I say Big Riggs is my brother and I'm standing up tall and I'm saying it with fervor, it's a different type of determination, right? You like, oh man, he really means it. So we got to be mindful of the body language that we put out. And it's okay if you are used to being shy, if you are not used to cold approaching, if you are not used to talking in public settings, because there was a study that said some people would rather face deletion than do a public speaking in front of a huge crowd. And some people think like, no, that's crazy. Who would say that? But just look up the studies. There are many people that have a fear of speaking in public, having people look at you straight in the eye, listening to every word, how many times you said but, and, like, my nigga, shit. They're listening to all of these cuss words, and you think, oh, this is just how I normally talk. This is just the flow. But other people are listening and evaluating each and every word that you say to determine your level of acumen, your level of intellect. Now, it doesn't mean that they are accurate in their assumption and their assertion, but a lot of them can only go off what you give them. So if you're giving off this ratchet, uneducated energy, is it right for people to assume? No, it's not right. But could you expect them not to assume? If a chick walks out looking like a slut, she can be a virgin. But what would you assume? That she's probably for the streets and that she's probably sleazy. Does that make it a fact because you assumed it? No. So Big Rig or anyone may be speaking in vulgar terms, but does it mean that he's less educated than the person next to him simply because he expresses himself in more vulgar terms? It's possible, but it's not absolute. So we have a complete and balanced discussion. And shout out to Misunderstood. She says she's listening in. Thank you for listening in. And let me read this comment, and then Mr. Best, you can go ahead and pick it up.
Misunderstood.
He says, in the past, you would meet a girl's father after like 20 days. Today's girls are bringing the entire family along for the first date if they believe you're the one. That is true. And they'll also want you to pay for the entire family as well. And 20 dates is a lot. I don't know many people going on 20 dates now because after the first 5, the dude didn't already smashed. So he like, yeah, I already smashed, already got the box, I already got what I wanted. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off after date 6. But of course, this is not all. We're just only speaking about certain situations. But getting right back on the topic, is it pointless for men to cold approach? Go ahead, Mr. Bettis.
Nah, just make sure you're in the right setting where you can cold approach. You know what I mean? It's all about the setting. So, salute to Victor Freeze. I see you, family. You know what I mean? Much love to Victor Freeze. Sending my love to you, bro. You know what I mean? In your time of need. You know what I mean? You know what it is, bro. Salute to Misunderstood. Me, Half Donut. Joe to Go. Everybody in the chat, man. Thank y'all for love and support. Salute to my brothers on the panel. You know what I mean? We like the Wu-Tang Clan up in this shit. Be Easy, Riggs, M3. What up, baby? You know what it is, baby. You know what I mean?
What up, Mr. Best?
So yeah, you can put cold approaches. Make sure you're in the right setting to cold approach. All right, you can't cold approach in a club if you're a library type of cat. You know what I'm saying? Understand that you're not in the library right now. So if you go to a different setting and you're expecting the same results, then you're fooling yourself. You know what I mean? Now, if you're in a setting where like anybody goes to it, then you gotta just expect anything. If you at a bus stop, you at a train station, you walking in the mall, everybody goes there. So you kind of gotta expect whatever type of reaction you're gonna get, right? And then also you want to just read body language. You also want to read eye contact, things of that nature. Different little things, will let you know. Plus the person, through their body language, through eye contact, they're gonna kind of let you know whether they're interested or not before you even go up to them. Because before you go up to them, they're gonna see you coming up to them, right? They see you, unless you see them, from the back of them, and then you see, from the back of them, you're like, oh man, she looking good. You walk up, know what I'm saying? If she don't see you, then that's a different situation. But if she's in front of you, you're in front of her, and she see you, then yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, like, you know what I mean? You'll see, like, if she really with it or not. You know what I mean? And that's why I say you want to make sure you're in a good setting. So if you do approach somebody, it's a setting that you're comfortable with. It's a setting that you're probably gonna get the results you're looking for. And it's a setting that, everybody mostly have everything in common. You feel what I'm saying? But if you're approaching somebody in a setting where y'all don't have nothing in common, it's gonna be random, then you gotta expect whatever you're gonna get. You know what I mean? And most of the time, if it go left and you in a setting that you're not familiar with or that you're not comfortable with, then you got to chalk that up to the game. You got to chalk that up to really you, honestly, and you just not being, privy to what your surroundings are. You know what I mean? Before, so that's the answer to the question. Before I continue on my soliloquy, I just want to give a quick PSA. You know what I mean? Number one, thank you for tuning in Knowledge and Relationships, y'all. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. All right? You know what I'm saying? And make sure y'all show the support, man, to the stream, man. Please show us that level of support. We definitely need it. We definitely appreciate all y'all. You know what I'm saying? Also, man, I just want to give a little quick PSA, real quick PSA. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm gonna take a quick little solo real quick. Look, a lot of y'all been talking reckless out here. All right? Y'all know who y'all are. You know what I mean? You've been talking real reckless about a lot of shit. All right? Watch who y'all talking to. Y'all know who y'all are. Got a phone call today. I ain't like what I heard. You know what I mean? Keep running your mouth, and I'm gonna have to come check y'all. That's all I gotta say. You know what I mean? Whether you want to be critical or not, you get what I'm talking about. You know who you are. Holla at me.
All right, I love the soliloquies, man, and the PSA announcements. Those are usually my favorite ones from Mr. Best. Also, shout outs to how did I pronounce it again? Where is it? Shout outs to Joe to go. I saw you up here. Like, if you could come up, feel free to come up, brother.
Yeah, I didn't drop him down. I think he might have got busy, but yeah, shout out Joe if you want to come back. And Me Have Donut says around December last year, there was this study that showed most Western girls believe that at least 35% of the men inside the club each night either has a yacht or can afford a table. And then he also says, do not club approach if you ain't super high 999 speech level. And then he says, hold on, someone trolling you. So sorry to hear that. Yeah, I think Mr. Best has it under control.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm definitely under control. Just some people out here are out of control, and I just gotta let it be known. They don't be know who they talking to, and I just gotta let them know don't talk to certain people a certain way, or I'm gonna have to come see you. That's it.
Cool. Thank you for setting the record straight with that PSA, and shout out Joe to go. I'm gonna come straight to you after I set this up. So we're talking about cold approaching, but most of our cold approaching in this discussion has been limited to, traditional forms of cold approaching, which is actually walking up to someone and physically cold approaching them. But we live in the digital age as well. So the cold approaching is also virtual as well. So people are sending cold approaches, like it goes down in the DM, right? Hey, look at this IG model. I'm going to cold approach her with a message. And some of these gurus, dating coaches, whether you listen to them or not, some of them are recommending that you send upwards of 100 DMs. And their mentality is that out of the 100 DMs, you'll get luckily maybe 5 of them to bite on it, right? So it's just a numbers game is what they're saying. But do you have time to send out 100 messages? Are you going to send out 100 copy and pasted messages and expect a genuine, authentic response when all you are sending is just a artificial kind of robotic generated prompt? So Joe to go, what do you think? Is it pointless for men to cold approach?
So, yeah, I've got a few thoughts. First off, I want to say, is there an echo or anything? Because it seems like StreamYard won't connect to my Bluetooth headset. Just asking. Be easy.
I don't hear any echo. You sound
all
good.
Right, we're good. All right. Well, my first thoughts on this is it's very hard to cold approach. I think that with mobile phones and different things, communicating has become much more convenient as a whole. So because of that, people are less willing to break the ice or just talk to strangers, right? Because you have a lot of people that are available at your fingertips. and it's much easier to meet someone via apps such as Discord or Tinder or wherever. So people use it for convenience sakes. But with that being said, a lot of these dating apps and things are not that effective. They're finding that with algorithms and what works essentially is that you have certain accounts that gain a lot of likes and matches, and other accounts that are just buried in the algorithm. You also have to consider that more men use it than women. So men in that space have to compete more than the women do. And it's not really the best way to meet people, because you're judging people off of a profile, and then you have to go in, you have to message them. And even after you message them, it's not a guaranteed date. So it's a very difficult process that is
Correct.
less
It's
and
a
less
waiting game,
streamlined
right?
amongst a different generation. So
Oh, so shout out to Miss Polly. And yeah, Joe, you make a great point, because so even CNN, don't take my word for it. I mean, we have been saying this for a long time. Many people that are abreast with the game have been saying this, but women go after the top 20% of men. There was a recent article, report, study, and segment done on CNN. You don't take my word for it. Go look it up.
right.
But you can find this information everywhere. And based on Tinder's own internal statistics, they say only the top 20%.
Okay. Well, so basically what I'm thinking is that a lot of that statistic is used quite frequently.
Other experiments show that on average,
Uh,
You breaking
so
up, bro.
basically what's on my mind here is that that's used universally when that only applies to online dating. So they'll just say in general that only like that 90% of women go after the top 10%. I'm not sure if that's true IRL, but it definitely applies to online algorithms and things.
I do believe it is true. This is specifically the one on CNN. It wasn't referring to online dating. It was saying in general, but the
Really interesting.
correct, and we can actually cover that video. But based on the Tinder, it says men who aren't in the top 20% get swiped right on by women on dating apps only 0.4 to 0.6% of the time. Not even 1% of the time, 0.4. And now they have all of these qualifiers where if a chick says, hey, I want the guy to be 6 feet, if you put your true height on there and you're under 6 feet, they can put a filter, only show me people that are 6 feet. So you're weeded
Right.
out that way. And most women that dudes find attractive don't want them. So this is where some people do believe that the cold approach is pointless, but I think it's about knowing your value, knowing your worth, and knowing the setting. Some things are just simply unrealistic.
So just in
Joe
general, I
may
think
be
what
the
you're saying
greatest
is it
dude
makes
ever. I may be the nicest dude ever, but if you
it makes a lot of sense
What are
what
you saying?
I'm hearing from you. I apologize, it's a little hard to hear. But yeah, my thoughts on that is pretty much exactly, it's a different landscape. It's much harder to approach, and depending on where you are, women might not want to be approached, or it's just not an appropriate setting. So like, I don't know. It's very dependent on a lot of factors, and how people are feeling that day, where they are, if there's friends with them, or if they're alone. It's very hard to judge when you have a lot going on there. So I don't shame people for not wanting to approach. I know a lot of people meet their partners through things like work, in church, etc. Nothing wrong with that. So, but it can feel very redundant.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Big Rick, I'm gonna go to you, but Joe, you made one of the points that I was gonna bring up. Of course, this is a very nuanced discussion, and there's a lot of variables that go into it. But one of the things too, when people are in groups and say you see an attractive person that you want to shoot your shot in cold approach, but you see that her friends are around and one of her friends is mugging you, or one of her friends may like you, but you want to holler at her friend, that could affect your cold approach and your confidence in doing it, because it's like, man, her friend is choosing up on me, but I want to holler at her. Or am I going to be able to isolate her from her friend so I can really give my spiel? Instead, when you're using your cold approach and whatever pickup rhetoric you're using, got her friends just sitting there looking at you, there's not many men that exude that level of confidence to just basically speak through or work through what some of them would consider an untenable situation, because there are many people that have low self-esteem. A lot of dudes kind of vagina worship, so the dudes that they approach, they believe that out of their league, so they're already putting her on a higher pedestal than themselves. So that adds into a certain level of fear, anxiety, and nervousness when you're approaching her, because you think that she's doing you a favor by even talking to you. You think that she's doing you a favor just simply existing, So Big Rig, go ahead and rock out before I go to Victor.
Go ahead and let Victor go. I'll go after Victor.
So Victor Freeze, what's up, bro? How much of the discussion have you been listening? You been tuned in the whole time or what?
Peace, bro. I caught probably like the last 20 minutes or so of y'all discussion.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's enough, so we can just get into it. Is it pointless for men to cold approach in your belief? Why or why not?
Nah, I think it's becoming a lost art. And I think the cold approach extends much further than just getting chicks. But to be able to, I think that's the reason that it doesn't work, because the hookup culture has created this, let's just get to the point, type of attitude. And no one wants to waste their time, and like you say, everybody's kind of uneasy about what the outcome may be, so let's just take the easy route and just do a book report on this person before I even see if I want to say something to them.
So you don't have an issue with cold approach, and you just think it's the hookup culture is the issue?
I'm gonna say it like this: if you can make a habit out of, this is for men everywhere, if you can make a habit out of approaching to get their phone number or setting up a date, just having a conversation and then leaving them looking stupid, like he didn't even ask for my number. Used to not even worrying about if you're going to get a yes or a no, or rounding off to getting the number or setting up a date, and just get comfortable talking to strangers in general. I think
because maybe my friend, the person never asked you for the number in the first place.
Hey, boss, you got to mute up, though. He's talking. You got to mute up. Wait till he's done talking. We're going to let you go. Go ahead, Victor.
So yeah, that's the bottom line, because if you can get comfortable just approaching people in general, that confidence level that y'all was talking about before, I believe that those butterflies or whatever you're feeling, they're more intense when you're dealing with someone that you fear rejection from. That's that one girl, the girl that you have to have. So now the pressure, talk to a girl that you don't think is so attractive, and don't ask her for anything. Just talk to her and get your reps in, is what they call it, and that's the numbers game that you speak of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And some people are even scared to get their reps in because they tie everything to some sort of sexual encounter. But no, people used to just have human interactions where they talk to each other, get to know each other, and all you're doing is sharpening your skills as a man, as a communicator. Everything doesn't have to revolve around some rainbow pot of sex at the end. You know what I mean? You are gaining more by building up your intellectual acumen and emotional maturity by saying, look, I'm confident enough to go say hello to this person. We definitely need to do better as humans in terms of being able to communicate with one another without everything having to be a transaction. Sometimes I walk past people, guys, girls, and just say hi on the street and keep it moving. I didn't need anything from them. I just said hi. So I think if people get used to that and being able.
You coming in and out, B.
M3, I seen you came.
I thought it was me.
Hey, did you hear me though, B?
Oh, yeah, I heard it. Go ahead, M3.
Bro, you sound out. You sound out, bro. M3, you sound out.
Shit. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Best. No, I was just saying, I just want to give my shouts to Victor Freeze, man. Good to see you, bro. Jimmy, how do I pronounce the last one? Rizzo? Yeah, good to see you as well, too. Welcome. So, but I think, I didn't really get to my point as far as with my thoughts with code approaching.
Jimmy and Rizzo, you had something to say?
Oh, wait, he's muted. Oh, Jimmy, you gotta turn your mic back on.
I'm just listening.
Okay. Well, Jimmy, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sometimes I listen to people and sometimes I listen to wiseness, but it just depends on which wiseness you like to react with your answers of maybe nothingness, in which it could mean nothing. But the reasonness in which you guys like to answer the questions is, I like you guys, and I just want to sit here and be myself and just listen to you. You know why? Because sometimes you have to listen to people to get on in life. Okay, motherfucker?
Okay. Well, it is important to be a good listener. That is a part of relationships as a whole.
What is a good Samaritan meant to be? Is a good Samaritan meant to be like the wisestness person? Or is a good Samaritan meant to be a wise person of life? You tell me, sir. You fucking tell me, motherfucker.
Well, motherfucker. This is not this is not the topic, you know? So
sorry, Joe, we had to drop your uncle.
I was about to say, get ready for that.
Why you gotta pin this on me? I had nothing to do with it. I swear I'm innocent. It's crazy.
Let me put the rules out there, okay? Because, we have new people, you feel me? But this is like a platform where we kind of give respect, right? So, we got to tone down a little bit of the language, first of all. But second of all, if you can't stay on the topic, or you try to derail the topic, okay? The topic is the point is for men to code approach to women. If you can't handle a conversation, you got to get out the kitchen. This may not be the conversation for people like you guys, okay? But anyways, let me get to my point. Sometimes it is pointless, right? But it depends. That's why earlier I was mentioning about the low asterisks or whatever. Because although cold approaching increases your chances to get certain women that you're trying to go after, but it's definitely like a slim chance for most men, especially nowadays of today. I even did like a couple of like, a little short research where they said like the typical cold approach success rate is anywhere between 1 to 7%.
That's crazy.
7%. 7% is for the high value people, which means they have a 90% chance of striking out.
Mm-hmm.
Game's got to be on point. That's what that means.
It has to be crisp though. But here's the thing. This is what makes it for most men, okay? Because some men are like the high value men, the one that don't really. Actually, the ones that are high value be easy. They're the ones that really don't need to cold approach, because you're gonna have women that's gonna come to you. So at
They
least
don't
for
need
most.
to cold approach, but even when they do,
Like, what are they gonna do? Just say like, give a nice smile, say hi, introduce yourself, and then bam. Okay, let me put it like this. What I mean by this be easy.
hold on,
right?
that's what Mickey Red says. Mickey Red says just walk up to her and say hi. Hey girl, how you doing? My name is Charlie, last name Wilson, and I was wondering if I could take you out. Yeah, this happens in Disneyland.
this
happens in Fairyland.
This is a vision that happens.
What you
like
think
to
about this?
You just have to go to Disneyland. That's what it is.
This usually happens to people,
Facts.
right, that are selective, right, for the type of man that they will want to approach. You know what I mean? But the majority of men that do cold approach, a lot of times, right, they have nothing to really use. I'm sorry, nothing to really lose. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying like, they're bums or whatever, but most of them that will holler at one girl and then switch over to the next girl within a couple of seconds. I mean, they don't really have a lot of time in their life like that. That's valued. So most of the times those women are already turned off, but they'll use those type of men to say, well, I get hundreds of dudes approaching me, trying to holler at me every day. But they're not the regular type of dudes that actually have a chip on the shoulder, that actually have some type of common sense and actually a little bit of value to them. Even if you're not high value and you're just a regular working dude. Most of these dudes are not going to really approach cold approach some of these women because, well, the biggest part is fear. And maybe bad experiences as well too, though. You cold approach to one, and the outcome is not like, oh, I don't like you like that, or oh, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend. No, they get to the shame and insults. They're like, how dare you approach me? Hell no. Get your dusty ass away from me. When you get all those insults, right? Especially it takes a lot for you to even build that courage up to really talk to them in the first place. You don't ever want to do it again.
Also online, when you slide in a DM and it shows that they left you on red for 2 weeks, like how does a dude proceed? Like, okay, I sent her a message 2 weeks ago. She still haven't read it. Do I keep sending her messages? I don't want to seem thirsty. You know what I mean?
So look, real quick. So there's two things that I wanted to address. One, real quick, I'll address the social media aspect. If you're trying to cold approach women on social media, I listen. The young ladies these days, they like to play I won't give you my number, but I'll give you my IG. That's where you cold approach from somebody you've met in person. Otherwise, these chicks is not taking you seriously on no cold approach through no IG. You know how many dudes is liking it in they shit. You know what I'm saying? They'll never, if they seen yours, you know what I mean? They looking for blue check marks or nothing. You
right.
Know what I'm saying?
That makes it even harder though, to be honest with you. I don't even really consider that a be cold approach on social media.
It does.
Say again?
Well, I mean, it actually is a well, it is a cold approach because dudes are
It is.
scrolling through Instagram and then they find a random chick and just message her. They don't know anything about her. A lot of times they're not even following the chick. They just message her in hopes that, hey, maybe I'll hit the Instagram lottery. You know what I
Right.
mean? But yeah,
But
I
yeah.
agree with what Victor Priest is saying.
Hmm.
What you got, Joe?
Well, it's not really as common. I mean, people flirt on Instagram and things and send, some goofy and sometimes creepy messages. But to expect to land something, a lot of people that are followed on Instagram are like halfway across the world. Like you have no shot of meeting them. So, but that does kind of put a lot of young people in like a depressed mindset. So you see negative effects of social media amongst women and self-esteem problems amongst young women, higher rates of depression than ever. But I think a lot of this is men are just, I guess, complacent with, just going online to have interaction with females and, not really doing anything to improve themselves or actually land one. Because there's so many young men like myself, kind of out myself here, that have never had a girlfriend, ever been on a date. It's getting less and less weird, and it's a lot of it has to do with, I think, generally with circumstances, like where you are at in life, and it also has to do with how well you are mentally, if you're comfortable around people, if you have confidence. And I've always had ADHD. I've always had a generalized anxiety disorder, which is quite surprising because, I'm creating content and constantly around a camera. But a lot of that discomfort, I find, goes away when I'm speaking to people online and not in person for whatever reason. There's a bit of distance. I don't have to worry about looking people in the eyes. I don't have to worry about not being tall enough or looking too skinny, because a lot of times they don't see you if you're just in a voice chat lobby. So, it's pretty comfortable, I think, when you're just being judged solely on the basis of what you're saying and you have a preset conversation and something to weigh in on versus having to come up with stuff on the spot. But there's a lot of factors into it. And a part of it, in order to get a girl, is you need to focus on self-development, working on your hobbies, working on polishing yourself, working on going out there and being more social. Now, I've got a lot of talent. I write music. I go online. I'm a content creator. I have a really, really awesome job. But none of that matters if you're struggling to maintain social relationships in life, with actual people. When you replace and substitute your whole social group online, there is negative consequences to that potentially, as well as positive. I would say the people I've met online have helped build me and helped me become more confident. And I definitely was in a much more unstable place before I got here. That said, there's still a journey to go. So it can help people, but you also need to be wary, is it cannot replace physical, real life relationships.
Hey Joe, let me ask you something real quick.
Go ahead.
Approximately how old are you? Are you between 20 and 30 or between 30 and 40?
I'm 25.
Cool. So based on what you said you've never in life been on a date or been in a relationship?
Yeah, there's some context there. I grew up in a Christian household. Both my parents are ministers. So I was constantly as a teen looking for only to date Christians. And I think that as I got older, the church became more and more political and less young people wanted to get involved. So now there's a much smaller selection. So usually when it comes to young adults, either churches have them or they don't. In a lot of cases, a lot of them are married. So it's just really hard to find a partner there. And then outside of churches, like church is the only place I typically go to meet people outside of work. My current job doesn't have other people my age.
So
but I'm looking for another.
Let me ask you this, right? So let's just say church is the only place you're going that you could possibly find a suitable candidate of your desire. church is a great place to find someone. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that they're going to be wholesome just because they're in church, but they'll be there.
Yeah.
Now, my question to you would be, you seem to be knowledgeable, but your experience doesn't align with that. So where are you getting the information of what it requires to successfully cold approach or get any female for that matter?
Well, I often look at data and advice that I'm given from people who really know what they're doing. But overall, the thing is that you can know how to a textbook. All the information is there on the right things to do. And there's another thing with executing it. So I think I have like a problem where just I don't really fit in with the culture of the area that I live in. You know, I'm definitely more inner city, and these guys are a bit more, you know, conservative and country. So I'm a bit edgy, not the funnest to be around a lot. I've got attitude problems that I'm trying to work through. So a lot of this is just, you know, I don't know. When I'm around girls, you know, I get very uncomfortable. I get very, very nervous. Sometimes I start shaking, and, you know, I can also be prone to panic attacks. So I'm at a disadvantage because you already built up a stigma because you've already approached women, already have bad experiences. And I think in life, a lot of times you have to push to win. And once you're winning, you usually keep winning. And, you know, to get that to a point in which you're successful, you need to work hard to get there. And I just haven't achieved that yet. But I think a big part of approaching is confidence, being able to speak clearly, being able to think clearly, being able to observe the other person. And if you're in a state where you're filled with anxiety, it's much harder to do that.
So Joe, I got some I don't want to sound like an old man, but whatever, I'm old, okay? Not old, but I'm mature. I'm almost 40. So take it or leave it. What I'm about to say, I've been in, you know, as far as relationships, I've had my share. And, you know, but before I started really getting into relationships heavy, man, I definitely was the same way, man. Like, I would shake when women would come up to me. You know what I mean? I'd be super nervous. My attitude was really, 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 really not good. And it came from, you know, the fact that when I was growing up, I was bullied a lot. And I was bullied a lot due to the fact that I've always been a bigger guy. And so, you know, fat boy and, you know, man, are you hungry still? And, you know, all them questions, and it would shame me based on how like my body looked and everything. So, you know, why you laughing, man? You know
I'm not laughing.
No, Riggs. Yo, Riggs is stupid, bro.
I think you just had me reminisce about that. Are you still hungry? I used to hear that shit too, bro.
Yo, it's a real thing. But that shit hurt my feelings though, and it hurt my confidence though. You know what I mean? And it hurt me to develop really as a man. So when I got older, now my body was starting to kind of like grow into itself. And now I was starting to get like, you know, the fat was starting to kind of, you know, spread other places. And I wasn't just sloppy fat, but now I was starting to get somewhat of a tone, right? And I started to grow into my body. And I'm always going to be a bigger guy. That's part of my genetics, right? And even now, like I've learned how to, like my frame is definitely, salute to Center Working Straight Network with Daryl Long. This crew was good, y'all. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, you know, like I had to grow into that, but you know what I mean, as I was growing into that, what helped me was that I just got around a lot of social settings that helped me out. I joined the church group, and it was a really big church group. And in that church group, they would set us up on dates, and that helped me out a ton, bro. Like, because
that sounds awesome.
Before that, man, like I was just kind of going off the cuff, or I was kind of just trying to, you know what I mean, just following what my family was telling me, and neither one of those things was working for me. You know what I mean? And I found myself in situations where I was getting hurt a lot, or I was hurting other people. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know what I was doing. But then once I started learning how to talk to women, how to deal with women, it just changed everything for me. And I would say I would say the biggest lessons that I've learned is, some of them I already shared, but I'll share again. One, make sure you're in a setting that's respectable, that you like and that you feel comfortable in, that are surrounded with people that you feel comfortable with. You know what I mean? So if it's a setting that you're not comfortable in, you don't really like that setting, that's not the best place to meet women. Or meet somebody that's going to really attract, you know, as a great Bolo TV says, Sister Anya is going to like this one, your vibe attracts your tribe. So whatever vibe you're on, whatever you like doing, that's where your tribe is going to be at. I also say a big thing too for men, and I know men don't really like to talk about this or touch on this, and sometimes we kind of shy away from this, and I know I have in the past. Self-care is the best care, right? That should really actually be number one, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what I mean by self-care, I mean mental health self-care. I mean emotional self-care. I actually mean like real self-care days. Taking yourself to the spa. You know what I mean? Grooming yourself. Get a massage. There's different things when it comes to our hygiene and things that we could just, you know, improve on. There you go. What fabrics to put together? What colors, you know what I mean, go together? What colors do you like? Or what colors kind of break out, you know, your face, or they bring out, you know what I mean? They make you, there's colors that you like to gravitate towards, you know what I mean? Or they match each other. You know what I'm saying? So things of that nature, you know what I mean? Because you may wear a color that brings out your eye color, and women are like, oh man, like I like that shirt. That shows more of your eye color. You know what I mean? Like, and you actually like that color too. Make sure you like it as well. Like, don't just do things because they like it, but make sure you like it as well. So yeah, taking care of yourself, man. Reading, feeding your inner man, reading books, meditation, prayer. All these things work. You know what I'm saying? You know, you want to work on you first and take care of you first. Then you're able to go out there. And then I would say, as far as like the salute the bruiser, what up? As far as the different women and all that, also kind of learning different types of women, right? And just learning just certain things like consistency is key. If a woman is interested in you, she's gonna be consistent. You know what I mean? Even though she doesn't expect you as a man to be assertive, right? She's gonna make sure that she's consistent back. So if you call her, she's gonna call you back. If she don't pick up, you text her, she's gonna text you back. If those things are not happening, just off the rip, move on. Like, move on. You know what I mean? You continue to be her friend. You continue to be cool. You know what I mean? If you want that, but if you're really honestly looking for somebody and somebody's not being consistent, move on. Also, just, you know, going places to, you know, knowing where to take women and knowing what places to go to that's gonna be like chill. Like, go to a museum. You know what I mean? You want to go places that build engagement. Go to an art gallery. Take a scenic walk or a jog. You know what I mean? If you're in exercise. You know what I mean? Go to a library together. You know what I mean? And like pick a book, and then y'all you read a book that y'all both like. And you're like, oh snap, you know, I like this book or whatever. I want to read this book to you. What do you think about this? So y'all can like build on that. Y'all can build a conversation from that. You know what I mean? Just little things, you know what I mean? Also remembering things that she tells you that she likes. You know what I'm saying? And remembering those things, and then also encouraging her with those things. You know what I'm saying? Not all the time, because sometimes you ain't gonna be able to do it because we're not rich. You know what I mean? So there's times where you can actually maybe afford to do something for her, and it can be something small, right? You know, she likes the color blue. You buy her like a blue like t-shirt or something like that. Like, hey, this your favorite color? I got a t-shirt that you like, that's that color. I just want to encourage you with that. You know what I mean? Little small things, man. It's not the big things. And a real woman will appreciate the small things. That's the last thing I'm gonna say. A real woman gonna appreciate the small things, bro. You know what I mean? She don't appreciate the small shit, then no matter what you do, it ain't gonna matter. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it G.
Yeah,
So-
I think. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, just real quick. I'm thinking that we've established certain things. Well, you know, as far as cold approaching, is that the likelihood of it actually working out is fairly low. We've also talked about dating profiles in online dating space and how that's hard, and also confronting people on social media, which seems like a dead end, and how that might be a substitute for actual real life interactions. So what it seems like is we have knocked out three ways there, and we've established that they're all three very, very hard to actually land a date with in the current landscape.
I have to disagree with.
I feel like we need to discuss that a bit, or how we may be able to solve some of these things and what traps people are falling into that's making it so difficult.
I got you, Joe. Because the area I want to disagree with you on, because I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna get out of here. I got to go to work in the morning. The problem I see. Okay, Mr. Miyagi, you ever heard of the Karate Kid, right? The first principle he taught Danielson is never fight unless you know you can win. I think if you can just trust the numbers and say that they're accurate, because the guys who win it are not reporting their losses. So if you have to talk to 10 girls to get one that you really like, it's not about 10 girls, it's about talking to 10 girls that fit the bill that you're looking for. And you would have to have done some observation before you cold approach. Before I approach a girl that I'm attracted to, I'm gonna watch how she interacts with the people around her that she's already interacting with. She doesn't see me yet. So I'm invisible to her. So I can just observe her freely, without being a creep, of course, but and just watch how she interacts with her coworkers. Watch how she interacts with the cashier. Watch how, she's moving. Does she look like she's busy as hell? Because you can catch the right girl on the wrong day and get the wrong response. So timing is everything. And saying something that seems genuine, and if it's original, you can just say, hey, hello, how you doing? But they get that all the time. If she looks down, and you just have to approach her now, then you need to be addressing the fact that she looks a little down, and then trying to lift her spirits, because she's beautiful to you, but to her, she's just in her own head. She doesn't see her beauty. She's not thinking about she look fine as hell right now. That's what you're thinking. She's thinking about her phone bill that's due tomorrow, and her phone about to get cut off, and she having problems with her boyfriend right now, and she thinking about moving out. So if you can culminate that into something original, to take her mind off of whatever her problem is, the best time to approach a woman is when she, especially a really beautiful woman, is when she has done something that's humanizing, like tripped over her own foot. I love to tell them, they call it negging. If you watch Pickup, it's really more easy than people give it credit for. I tell a woman all the time, you got a little something right here. I don't want, hey, listen, between me and you got a little boogie. And all it does is humanize them. They thought you were coming over there to ask them for their number, and then you can have a laugh about, whatever, both of you being human, having a human moment. And what I would say is that from the women that I've talked to in this recent generation, there's so little cold approaching going on at this point, and so many people on social media, that it's so rare that they even get approached by anybody, even the people they're not interested in, that they're thirsty for it. So any guy that just shows that he has the balls to come up to them, they'll give you a shot. Now, if you strike out, you strike out. If you don't got no swag, if your shoes are dirty, if your breath stinks, and if your hair isn't cut and you look unkempt, then no, you shouldn't be, you're not even ready. But, back in the day, we didn't have a bunch of money and all of this stuff, and nobody was cosmetic and metro and fingernails, everything. You just had to have enough game, like some swag, that confidence that you were talking about. That came from just having, taking enough L's to not want to take anymore, and making the adjustments, watching other people who are successful in conversations with beautiful people. Get you some female friends and get some advice, because they'll tell you, like, boy, you can be something if you just do this one thing. If you just adjust that one thing, they'll tell you where you're socially awkward. But you got to just try to not have sex with them, and it'll actually work out in your event and in your favor, because they'll hook you up with their friends. They'll have you around other women and give you more opportunities with someone closer to your network that isn't a complete stranger. But that's all I got.
You mind if I jump into this? One.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right.
Vic, man, thanks for giving that game, man. Love you, boy.
For sure, man.
That's pretty good.
Oh, and Vic, all right, man. See you later, Vic.
All right.
Later, Vic.
I'm not too loud, am I?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Hey, but M3, real quick. Hey, be easy though, bro. You didn't give your example yet either. So when M3 done doing his spiel, what he about to do, bro, you ain't put your little spin on it. You asked everybody. I didn't answer it. You kind of went to me again. That's why I passed it up to Victor, because I already answered it, bro. I'm kind of waiting on your answer, but go ahead, M3.
Oh, you waiting for Be Easy's personal experience?
He ain't answered his own get down, bro. So I'm just saying, we gotta hold each other accountable right around here. You know what I mean?
Okay. Accountability.
Hey, ever since Big Rig learned a new word, he pushing the line.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? It's just up and it's stuck, man.
Shouts to Big Rigs, man. I feel, holding brothers accountable. Let me say this though.
Hold on. If it's up, then it's stuck, man.
All right. But look, so honestly, I try to make things as simple as possible now these days. The biggest, mistakes that I will make when code approaching was because I was overthinking too much. And sometimes we let our own selves get in our head way too much. So what I mean by that, sometimes we look at all the negative scenarios that will outcome from this, as opposed to just letting your mind just go free and then just approaching. And sometimes it will work and sometimes it will not work. I think people who has experience in doing sales will have the easiest time to cold approach people because they're used to rejection. And I think it's just like a buildup. Whereas, I don't know if this is the right term, but it's like you gotta build yourself up where you're kind of numb to it. I'm like, okay, But then you also have to also think about this too, though, because the reason why most of us get nervous is because we're too focused on trying to make a good impression on them. We're focused on how can we please them, how can we make them happy. But what are you doing to make yourself happy? So the way how I look at it, if I want to cold approach that person, what comes to my mind is that what can this woman or whoever else I'm doing as far as network wise, what can this person do to help benefit for me? I know what I have to offer, so I don't need to think about that. But what can that person offer me if I'm going to make the approach? And if I can't think of what that person has to offer for me, then I'm not going to approach them, because I would be wasting their time and I'll be wasting my own time. So any person that you approach, look at it like this. You're kind of weeding them out, so then that way you could actually find a qualified candidate. And then shout outs to Intrepidus Ducks. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate that. After Be Easy go and after Joe responds to what we're saying, I'll go again and I'll kind of make some more things I just want to say real quick. But go ahead, y'all.
Cool.
Sound like 84 got a lot to say.
Mm-hmm. I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm getting over these allergies, baby. I'm here.
Yeah, man. I was about to say, bro, you've been about a good week and some change with that little sound in your voice, man. I was going through it tough too, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the allergies hit me as well too.
Bruh,
Real
I
pause.
had a little bug not too long ago.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, shout out to everybody with that allergy, man. It's a cold game, boy. Like you said, be easy. It's rough not being able to breathe, man.
Man, springtime is coming. That's what's going
Bruh,
on.
if you can't breathe out of your nose, man, that is not cool, bro. That's torturous to me, bro. Not being able to clearly breathe out your nose, man.
Oh, that's
But
even
when
worse,
it
man. You're
comes to
just
the
trying to go to
topic,
sleep.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll be up all night. I know Rig know with that snot rag hanging out, trying to
Left,
just.
right, bro.
But yeah, I would say, is it pointless? Definitely not. I think it depends on. Hold up, man, my phone talking to me.
Oh, okay. That's
but
that.
No, it's not.
Alexa.
Yeah, I actually got Droid, so it's some called Bixby.
What? You got a Droid?
Yeah, Droid.
What's wrong with Android?
Nothing, bro. I'm just surprised because be easy like a different
Ultra.
generation. And they all like iPhone, bro. I got a Droid. I ain't tripping. I got an iPhone too, but I don't use it.
Shout out to the Droids, though.
Droid over iPhone all day off top.
Oh wow, man! Salute to you, brother. But go ahead and do your thing, man. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I know it's good. I would say it's actually purposeful for men to cold approach. There are some situations that it could be perceived as pointless, but it's actually purposeful because you gain something from it. It's just like going to an interview at a job for a high level position. Even if you don't get the job, was it pointless for you to go to the interview? No, because they asked you certain questions that you needed to answer on the fly and see how sharp you are. You seen how the interview was conducted. You see what the prerequisites is and what is required of you to attain this position. So if you don't get that position, when you go to another job, you can take those skills from your failed interview and have a successful interview. That would be purposeful. You shoot 100% of the shots that you don't take. So it's like, hey, bro, what's your percentage? Your percentage is 0. Why is it 0? Because I didn't take a shot. So the person that's not taking a shot versus the person that got a 20% closing rate, you can say, oh, that percentage is low. He's only closing 20% of the time, but you're closing 0% of the time. What is a bigger number? 10 and 20 versus 0. You're at 0 by your own, basically by your own behavior. You're not even taking a shot. And a lot of dudes, they fixate too much on cold approaching with sexual encounters in mind. You should be trying to engage with people and just better yourself as a communicator and as a man. A lot of dudes are fearful of cold approaching, not always necessarily because of the woman that they're cold approaching. Is because they know that they're lacking something within themselves. And like Joe was saying earlier, y'all need to work on what you're lacking, and that alone will build up your confidence in cold approaching, so you won't worry about the rejection. Back to the interview, if you go and you say, hey, this person doesn't give me a job, are you going to start crying and say, you know what, I just need to slit my wrist? You're going to say, no, they didn't hire me, but some other company will hire me. And if you know about the game, shout out to, some of the real ones with ism. They say if a chick don't choose you, she's done you a favor. She's done you a favor by allowing you the opportunity, the time to go pursue someone that actually does want to be a part of your program, your team, and your campaign. You don't need to whine and cry about, oh, she didn't choose me. She didn't select me. Oh, this job didn't choose me. Well, you sent your resume out to 20 people. So what if you didn't succeed with this interview? Is it pointless for you to keep sending your resume out, or is it purposeful for you to get that feedback and know what you need to improve on your resume, know what you need to improve with your approach and with your appearance? You may have the coldest mouthpiece, but then you looking dusty. By you going out there and cold approaching, a chick may look at you, turn her nose up, and you can say, oh, well, I do need to shave. I need to clean up. I need to stop dressing like my son and dress like a grown man to command a certain level of respect that I deserve. All of these things, they don't sound pointless. Is feedback for you. People don't want to accept feedback, and many people don't want to have the introspection to look and say, look, man, I need to lose some weight, or I need to do this with my hygiene, or I need to do this with my finances. That's what you need to be doing. Once you go out there and put yourself out there cold approaching, you'll be put on the spot. You will be held accountable, whether you like it or not. A chick will let you know if you're too short. So now you can say, okay, cool. I wanted to knock down these tall tree 5'11", 6-foot chicks. Now I'm gonna approach a girl my height or shorter. So now you're already eliminating the rejection. And like Mr. Freeze was saying earlier about Mr. Miyagi, you don't enter the fight unless you know that you can win. Now, I know there's really no way that you can absolutely be certain about what fights you can win, but you can mitigate the damages and the failures by becoming the best version of yourself. Get your hygiene together, get your finances together. If your finances are together, you shouldn't even be thinking about dating. What are you thinking about dating, dating for, when you know it's going to cost you more money that you don't have? Get your money up and you won't have to worry about cold approaching, because you'll have the car, you'll have the attire, you'll have the confidence and the esteem to carry yourself, that you will be a magnet for the type of women that you want. And where are you looking for these women, right? A dude will go to a club and saying, I'm looking for a wholesome church girl. At a club where you see a bunch of bottles being popped in VIP? No, how about you go to some more classier places for a date and expand your horizon when it comes to that. So here's a couple that you can do, wine tasting. Not really that expensive, but much more classier than the club. Wouldn't you say? Mr. Best said earlier, an art museum. You should be able to want to explore different forms of art and have deep conversations about the artwork. This will weed out, is this person even worth pursuing? And none of these things are super expensive. Wine tasting in an art museum will actually be a better date than going to Ruth Chris or some other steakhouse. So why are you even taking her to Ruth Chris to give her a steak that she's not even going to value? I don't know anyone that doesn't value going to an art museum or wine tasting. How about a cooking class? It's a best of both worlds. Y'all get to do something together and you can see, does she know how to cook? If she doesn't know how to cook, then maybe y'all can work on that together. And if y'all both know how to cook, that's a level of bonding that's priceless. Much better than going to a club. Of course, you can go to a theater, but I'm not talking about the movie theater. I'm talking about a play or a musical opera or something like that. How many times have you been on a date like that? How many chicks have you took on a date like that? You will probably be the first one taking her on a date like that. So you are setting yourself above and beyond the competition. And this is what it is. It's a competition. Are you competing just for the sake of competing, or are you competing to win? I'm about winning. So let's go out and win. A picnic in the park. Once again, why would you take her to the steakhouse when you can set up a fly picnic at the park? You can cook it. You can have it delivered there by Uber. You can set up chairs, flowers, and everything, a blanket. That is more personable, much more exciting, much more romantic than the club and Netflix and chill. A hot air balloon ride. Yeah, you might be scared. She's going to be scared too. But in her fear, who do you think she's going to cling to? She needs someone that's going to protect her, someone that's going to make her feel safe. When you take her out of her comfort zone, everything dies in the comfort zone. But once you want to grow, expound, and get better, you step outside the comfort zone. They got all sorts of boat rides and cruises just for one day. You can ride under the bridge. It's like an hour, 2 hours. Better than a club, better than Netflix and chilling. So take her to a jazz club, some live music, where there's no ratchetivity, a spa day. Go ahead and get your mani and pedi. See, some people think, oh, well, that's feminine to get a mani and pedicure. So you think getting a mani and pedicure is feminine, but you walking around with dirty nails and crusty toes is masculine? Yeah, not on my watch, bruh. Clean them crusty toes, clip your nails, and clean the dirt up under your nails, bruh. Because a lot of dudes like, oh man, I want to grab her, I want to touch her below, I want to rub my fingers through her hair, I want to put my finger on her soft skin with your dirty, crusty hands. Come on, bruh. Like, let's get real. This is not about her. This is about you. Once you become the best version of yourself, you better the options that are available to you. Just like your resume. Once you get more skills, hey, I do forklift driving. Hey, I'm a culinary chef that type 40 words per minute. The more things you add to that resume, you better your chances of getting a higher quality woman. The less things that you have on that resume, you'll probably get a low-level, entry-level job. So if you are just looking like an average entry-level person, then that's the average at best type of spouse that you're gonna get. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but if you know that you have entry-level qualifications, why are you applying for the CEO position? Why are you applying for the general manager position when you know that your resume doesn't hold mustard to the other people you're competing against? Doesn't mean that you need to just give up and feel sorry for yourself. You just need to step it up. Stop focusing on these chicks and this vagina chasing and focus on building yourself up. Go ahead and rock out, y'all.
Well, I definitely agree with like all of that. One thing that I understand was a big shortcoming that I had is essentially I turned down a lot of women or, had opportunities and just screwed up the process. So that's kind of like how I got here. And oftentimes I was too picky. I think a big thing that men need to know is they don't always qualify for an 8 or 9. And you can better yourself to end up qualifying for something like that. But ultimately, dating is a very competitive field. So if you want to get the more attractive ones, that means that you have more men looking for the attractive ones. That means they've probably been with more men than most women because they've had more opportunities. So they're approached more. It just is what it is. So with that in mind, you kind of have to work on yourself. You have to work on your confidence, learn how to socialize. I mean, socializing with other guys is good. That's also key, and it definitely will help. But socializing with women, I think, is a little different. And it's a lot of times what works when you're around the other guys doesn't necessarily work when you're around the women. So it is good to talk to women, to have women in your friend circle, to at least get some familiar experience, to kind of get what they're like. Being around them, I have 3 sisters and no brothers.
Empty
So
your brain, right?
Huh?
Don't be afraid. I said, don't be afraid. I'm not saying you. I'm just speaking generally. Don't be afraid to pick these women brain. When women are around, a lot of times they're doing what's called a shit test for men to see what he's about, his fortitude. A lot of times they'll call men and be crying and saying, oh, my boyfriend did this, my ex did this, and they'll be expecting you to give them advice from a male perspective. So if you're talking to females, get their perspective. It doesn't mean that you're going to agree with it, but it is good to absorb that perspective so that you can make an informed decision, an actual effective strategy, and I think that, so she says, yes, be real friends with women. Now, I'm not saying that you should be in the friend zone with a woman that you're attracted to and you really want to be with her, but
you
you're
have
just
to
trying to
express
hang out in the
interest.
friend zone.
Yeah.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. You have to
Otherwise,
express
she ain't good.
interest.
She's just gonna see you as a friend. So you have to.
Well-
That's another mistake people fall for. Go ahead,
Well,
be
well,
easy. I'm
well,
interrupting.
But here's the thing, though, right?
Nah,
Oh wait, what's that, Beezy?
I steamrolled the
No, I said, go
conversation. Just go
Okay.
ahead.
No, my bad, guys. Well, I was gonna say, like, the only time, right? I feel like men and women should be in the friend zone is like when it becomes the old school term, friends with benefits. Now, I know we don't have that anymore, you know, but if it's beneficial,
Says
then
who?
yeah. Or what about, like, like the friends with benefit stuff? Shoot, now these days, like, I don't really hear a lot of people talk about friends with benefits anymore. I feel like at this point, maybe it might be a little bit extinct because we're in the social media era where you don't really need friends like to really have. Most people, they go on the internet and then they search for whoever they want to find, whether it be Nintendo, Bumble, whatever you want to call it. I just don't hear that term anymore where, or that old saying where it was actually once beneficial just being like a woman's friend because you know what you're going to get from that woman anyway. And there was pretty much like no strings attached to it.
Well, the thing is, they're not calling it that anymore. It still does exist. But now there are a lot of men waking up to the fact that some of the benefits may not be worth it, right? Some dude may be getting minimal benefits and he may want more and saying, look, I'm not okay with just settling for these measly benefits. I want something more than this. And then typically that's kind of where the mishaps come and it gets cut off. So
But
like Joe was saying,
that's the difficult part is with women. I've heard women say the thing that guys cannot just be just friends. Like they're essentially, like eventually down the line, they're gonna want to engage or get in a relationship, right? So I don't know. Don't know.
Let me say this. So
some people see it like that.
Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That was it. There's just social pressure there between.
Let me say this. Yeah, I think I'm struggle streaming. I am. Damn.
No, we heard you. Well, yeah, but be easy. Going back to what you said, right? No, was it? No, I think it was you, Bees, that said like that the men are not really receiving much of a benefit. But see, back then, like men used to receive like I feel like good benefits from it. But I guess at a certain age or maybe at a certain era, people are becoming more and more selfish. Maybe that's probably what diluted a little bit.
yeah, no, you and because that's what Intrepidus says. I don't know. The friends with benefit just isn't as satisfying after a certain age. So I think there is like a friend with benefits wall. But not only that, the sexual liberation and the thought culture has kind of threw a monkey wrench in the friends with benefits thing. See, a lot of dudes used to hang around in that friend zone, hoping, like, hey, we won't no longer be friends. She'll eventually, take me as her own. Now a lot of dudes are saying, look, I know I'm just being strung along for the ride. So this is where the MGTOW, SYSBM, passport bros come in because they're saying, look, I'm not going to just be having it up in air about are we friends? Are we friends with benefits? I'm just going to pay a chick and I'm going to smash this chick and I'm going to receive all the benefits that I want for the price because the dudes are still paying, right? When they take the chick out in the friend zone, a lot of these dudes are still paying because they believe it's their moral obligation as a man to do. But what are they really receiving? A pat on the back, hey, big head, oh, thanks. And they're venting to you about how tired. But on the flip side, some dudes are saying, you know what? Instead of trying to work for these benefits, I'm just going to pay for the benefits outright. No questions asked, no strings attached. You don't really have to work for that. You've already worked for the money. Now I'm just making a transaction. And even with these friends with benefits, a lot of these dudes go out, they're taking them on all these dates. And at the end, the return is not the sexual encounter that they want. So some dudes are saying, look, I'm still paying. If I'm going to pay, I might as well get the box for certain, not just speculating. Maybe I'm going to get it. Maybe she's going to give it up. I'm going to pay for certain. And also when you paying these professionals, they're not saying you're too short. They're not saying that your Johnson is too small. They're not saying you're too fat because it's transactional. All they care about is the money. So you don't have an obligation to really, if you perform weak sexually, they're not going to be sending you texts and blast you on social media. So it's a certain level of discretion and privacy that dudes are saying, well, that's an actual benefit for me. If I get with this girl who's my actual friend, if we fall out, she might blast me all over the internet. Versus a professional, she just accept your money, suck you dry, and then you on your way. For some people, that's preferred.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? Back with my friends with benefits like journey, I never had to pay anyone like for a date. And if we did went out, they damn for sure was going to pay for it on me.
Intrepidus said that too. She said, I haven't heard of men for a ton of.
My bad.
No, I was just saying Intrepidus was saying that I haven't heard of men and friends with benefits paying for a ton of dates. I don't know what type of men, because usually every man, I don't know men that go out with women and split the bill. I don't even know that. Even if you're friends, a dude to go out and say, oh yeah, I got this, but I don't really know friends with benefits that go Dutch.
Well,
go ahead, M3.
Well, because here's the thing, right? I'm not asking them, like, to go on a date with me. You know what I mean? I'm just like asking them to do other things. And I feel like if you know your role and you know how cheap I am, well, frugal is the better word I would say it. I use the term to pretty much like, yo, let's go hang out. Now let's go on a date. Because I know on a date, they're going to expect for you to pay. But if you say, hey, look, let me make this straight, okay, and clear, crystal clear. You could either go out on a hangout with me, because that's why I used to tell like some of the other girls, you go on a hangout with me, but I'm not paying for your meal. They'll ask me for shit. And I was just straightforward. They'll get mad. They'll get an attitude. They'll ask me questions, but they'll understand. A lot of times, like, and maybe now kind of looking back at it, I could have gave a little bit more. Because some of them, like, will actually, like, cook. Some of them will actually, like, let's say if my car was down, like, I could call them and they will come up, and then we'll just hang out, go places, spend time and be around in nature and all that. So, but if I were to pay, like, it would just be like something that I would just pay like for my homies. Like, hey, you want a sandwich or something? Or you want a soda? Hey, I got you. Something like more like that. But
yeah, that's more or less meal, what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't mind. Like if we go to Starbucks or something and you want a sandwich or a Frappuccino from Starbucks, I ain't gonna be like, BITCH, you gotta pay your own way. You know what I mean? Like that's not a big deal. But when we start talking about you want to go to Roof Chris and other places that's $100, $200 a plate, I'm not going there at all because I'm frugal like M3 and I know how good I could cook. But yeah, I'm not taking no one that's not wifey potential. I'm not going anywhere that's like a couple $100 a plate. And even when people will say, look, I'll pay for you, I'll be like, nah, we don't even got to go there. Let's just go somewhere else that will be better. I don't need you to try to spend a couple $100 on a plate to prove what? That you got my back? Because a lot of that stuff be phony, right? So for example, if I say, hey, Joe, let me take you out to a restaurant and the plates is $300 a plate, right? And then I know that Joe is financially. Wouldn't it make more sense to just give them $100? But some people, they won't do that. They'll spend $300 on a plate of food that you didn't ask for, but won't give you $100. I'm like, nah, bro. Like, if you're gonna help somebody, actually help them out. But some people try to give help in a way that helps you, right? This person may want to go out to a restaurant, and I can say, hey, M3, I got you. But are you really trying to help me, or are you just bored and trying to get out the house? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather you actually offer some help. Buying me a plate of food doesn't really help me. You know what I mean? And I'm not asking anyone to like pay a bill or anything, but I'm saying if people want to have an impact of helping people, just giving someone lunch, especially someone that may be struggling. Some dude may need diapers, right, for his kid, and you finna go take him out to a restaurant. Like, here, I got you. Nah, just give him the diapers for his kid. That's really helping him. Don't take him to some restaurant that he don't care about. So,
good point.
That's what I got. But Mia Donut says they used to take those girls on dates. Today it's basically called a sugar daddy without, the sexual encounters. And Intrepidus says, good points. Thank you, Intrepidus. I appreciate you. And you're definitely making some good points in the chat and keeping the discussion very lively and nuanced. So I appreciate that. And when she says preferred or kink, I think she was referring to the dudes that I was saying. Some dudes, they've just checked out of the friends with benefits and they just start, purchasing professionals and escorts. Some of that stuff is kinky. I will agree. Dudes have foot fetishes. A lot of dudes have wives, but certain things they want to do with the professional, they wouldn't request of their wife. They may want to do Greek with a professional, but their wife may not do it. They may want to dress up in cosplay that their wife doesn't want to do, so they hire an escort to do it. So that type of stuff is kinky. And then there are some people that actually prefer to just pay, for sex because they think that they get a better return on their investment. So if they take a chick out for wine tasting and at the end of the day, all they get is a hug, they may feel like they wasted their money. Also, if they don't pay for the chick, even if they're a friend, a lot of dudes think that it kind of emasculates them. There's a lot of dudes that inherently believe that it's a man's duty, sworn duty to pay no matter what. So in those instances, if a dude is paying, some of them prefer to get the most bang for their buck. So if they take a chick wine tasting or on an art museum, and after that all they get is a handshake and a hug, some dudes don't consider that a good return on the investment. So they'd rather just pay for a chick to come over to their hotel room and they blow their back out. So they think, hey, I'm going to spend the same amount of money, or maybe I'm spending a little bit more, but I'm getting a lot more in my return on investment. Of course, this is not all people that think like that, but there is some people that make a calculated decision with their money. And they're saying, hey, I'm being frugal with my money. I work hard for it. So each $100 I spend, I want to get something out of it. And sometimes just a handshake and a hug from a woman is not enough to get these dudes to, be the white knights that they used to be.
But BZ, I want to tell you this in addition. This is the reason why, men will prefer to spend all this money on an extravagant date just to get nothing in return, or even worse, fly out a chick from overseas or from a different state to come to your way and still get nothing in return but a conversation and maybe a lighthearted thank you. It's a lot of our egos playing a way into it, because the simple solution is get yourself, an escort, get yourself someone who can be or do the things that you want them to be for you, for maybe 3 minutes of entertainment. Some of y'all can't really last that long anyway. But because the ego gets into the way, you already know. Well, because you already know that, okay, if I'm paying for a prostitute, I already know that person don't really like me for me, or I haven't really earned it. It's almost like the ultimate cheat code, like the Game Shark of sex. You know what I mean? So if you're paying,
the ultimate shortcut. But like you said, they're not obligated. They come into the situation knowing, and that's why I brought up the point earlier where they come into the situation knowing that the escort is not going to talk about how small their Johnson is. They're not going to say, hey, you're not 6 feet, or you're overweight, or you're not a high value man. An escort or professional is not going to say that. If anything, it's in their job to make you feel more comfortable about everything. If you do have a little Johnson, that, oh, it's okay, they're there to comfort you. Meanwhile, someone else will like ridicule you. So some dudes, they exercise that option of using that ultimate cheat code and shortcut to deliver the satisfaction that they themselves believe a regular organic encounter may not provide them, because they see all of the memes, they see all of the chicks talking. Hold on, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you because it's a little loud. But they see all of the chicks talking and saying, I want to do 6 feet, 6-pack, 6 figures. So some dudes are just simply checking out, say, hey, I'm not 6 feet, don't have a 6-pack, and I don't make 6 figures. But this escort, this professional, she's not requesting any of that. So it is a way of shortcutting and kind of circumventing the process and say, look, I don't have to cold approach. I don't have to organically build a rapport with anyone. All I got to do is work my butt off, earn a check, and how I spend my hard-earned money is my business, right? So if I want to spend it on some vagina, who are you to tell me that I can't spend it? Y'all spending it on Birkin bags and all of this other frivolous stuff. So at least I'm getting a human encounter and engagement, no matter how unauthentic or artificial it is still satisfactory for many, and they believe that they are getting a return on their investment. So I'm not one of those dudes that resorts to that, but there are many that adopt this lifestyle and are pretty content with it.
I'm about to head out, so if I can get my last words in, be easy.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, rock out, Joe.
So I think that there's some key things that we have to note is a lot of people are married or are older and remember what it was like to shoot their shot and give advice to young people and aren't necessarily aware, because things I think may have been a lot easier then than what it is now. I think people were more prone to socializing in person before the introduction of social media and cell phones. Because essentially there's people in your pocket wherever you go. You got Discord, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, and people do, conversations through things like Xbox Live. It's not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to talk to a circle of friends. You can talk to people you met online and, interact with them regularly. So I think there's some aspect. Another aspect, I can speak for myself personally, because I did talk a bit about, where I'm at. For right now, I've recently had to move back into my parents' house, had a really good job, but got cut to part-time. So I'm just definitely a really big self-reflection period, but I was always tired before, working a lot. So I think for a couple months, I may lay low and work on myself mentally and getting better at socially interacting with people. But I am applying for jobs and we'll see what happens. But, and hopefully there is somebody there that's my age that, ask out or something. But, there's always church, and I'm definitely trying to be more active there and definitely trying to get circles at churches. And I think that, with churches and just going places and feeling the room, there's definitely opportunity to meet people. But in order to get a female, you need to really develop yourself and have yourself in order. And I think that that's a struggle with someone who's suffered a lot of mental health problems and trauma and different things. It's a very hard gutter or hole to like dig yourself out of. But I am doing the effort. I am taking the time, and part of it is being online and interacting with people, and it's definitely helped sharpen me quite a bit in doing these panels. So, it's always good to listen and hear people's advice, right? I definitely think that practice, you miss, like Be Easy is saying, you miss every shot you don't take. So it's definitely practice. It's definitely working on yourself. It's self-development, finding your passions, and learning how to be friendly to those around you, and having friends, and just being a good person. I think good people are very attractive, I think. So
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Joe. And not only do you be good to good people, first you got to be good to yourself. Being good to yourself allows you to be good to everyone else. And once you're good to everyone else, it becomes contagious, infectious in society. But Joe, you already know you locked in with me. You my brother.
I wish you could stay up here longer, man, because I had some stuff I wanted to say, but I know you got to go.
I can stay for about 5 more minutes if you want to just lay it out.
Yeah, man. I mean, I will also say, I would say, well, it's not just for you, for anybody else. Like, whether it's Intrepidus, whether it's Sister Anya, whether it's Mickey Red, and I'm saying this to y'all respectfully. For me, respectfully, I know I could talk to any of these women if I was single. Period. I know I could. It wouldn't even be a challenge for me. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a challenge for me to actually be with them, because that's a whole different, topic, whether we're in a relationship or not, is a whole different topic. Me getting to know them wouldn't be a challenge, just based on the fact of I know who I am and I know how I move as a man, and I know the different things that I expect. And I know that either they're going to fill in to what I'm looking for as far as things that I'm looking for and trying to build with the person, or they're not, right? So either they're a suitable mate or they're not a suitable mate. Also, with that being said, I also would say, I know a big thing as well for men is that sometimes we feel like, because we are, we are thinking about sex, so we are sexually attracted to women that we're like, man, why am I? And I've been through this, right? I'm just gonna keep it G. Man, why I be thinking about sex so much, man? Like, goddamn, like it's always on my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is that always something that I'm always feeling? But the thing is that we are naturally attracted to women, so that's a natural thing. It's not a bad thing to be attracted to women. The thing is what we do with that attraction, right? You know what I mean? Excuse me, y'all, hold on. Are we letting that attraction, overtake us? And now we're doing like some creepy shit, like touching the girl, behind, or saying some inappropriate shit. Or, we keeping it cool. You know what I mean? I'm attracted to her. She look good. I like what I'm seeing. It is what it is. So not being afraid of attraction. The thing is, when you are attractive, you know what I mean? They feel that energy. And when they attract you to feel energy, they call it pheromones. You know what I mean? We talked about that before, Be Easy. Remember we talked about the pheromones and shit? It's called pheromones, that energy. You know what I mean? That energy rings off. You feel what I'm saying? And that's a good thing, because once those pheromones are ringing off and you see she attracted, you attracted, and it's that natural chemistry that y'all sharing that energy, man, everything else flows from there.
All right, guys, I'm going to head out.
That's all we got to say, y'all. Yeah, that's all we got to say, y'all.
Okay.
Joe to go, man. Thanks for coming up here, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks. One last thing is I definitely need a haircut. That's it. All right, later, guys.
Yeah, Joe, you do, bro. I know you probably go to Supercuts, but if you come out here, we're gonna take you to one of the hood barbers. The best barbers is black. Joe, we got.
I know you didn't say Supercuts. This dude tripping.
For Joe, that's where Joe go to Supercuts. But Joe, you got to come out here and come to one of the black barbers. I don't know if you want to get you a mullet or something, but we're gonna get you a taper out here, man. But shout out to my boy Joe to go, or Joe Dirt. Shout out my bro Joe.
Sister Anya, why you laughing, Sister Anya? Why you laughing for? Welcome back, Greg.
And she says, yeah, Yeah, you'll me have donut says, yeah, you'll get there, Joe. There's truly no rush. You already mature for your age, so you're 60% there. Focus on seeing your own smile in the mirror first, and go talk to a lot of pretty girls. I agree with that advice, and we can't ignore the self-care, right? So when we're looking to put ourselves out there and we're expecting to get something back high value, are you even highly valuable, highly productive, superior yourself? If you're not, then just work on that and everything else will fall into place. Otherwise, you are consuming yourselves with the drug of choice, which is delusion, and it's highly addictive. So a lot of dudes like to point the finger about how unrealistic and how delusional these chicks are. A lot of these dudes are equally delusional. They'll see a chick in the gym,
Oh yeah.
body, six pack chiseled that you can iron a shirt on, and then you're over here 400 pounds saying, I deserve her simply because I'm a man and I have a penis. That's a form of extreme delusion, and you need to get it together. You don't need to be 100 pounds, but you do need to lose some weight. You do need to carry yourself a bit better. You know what I mean? A lot of dudes is in perfect physical fitness, but mentally they're not fit. So you still are requesting the same thing. It's still a form of delusion. Mentally you are not ready or up to par for what you're requesting. So get it together. So Intrepidus says good night. Thank you for stopping by.
Night, Intrepidus.
Good night. Good night.
Me have donut. I know that you were super sloppy drunk, but as long as you can stay on topic, then it's all good. Me have donut or me have drinks. What's up? Me have donut. You there?
I guess.
What's up, bro?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You a little low. You sound like you in the dungeon in the dark doing something. I don't know what you're doing, but we can hear you.
Toggling some drinks, I guess.
Oh, what you sipping on?
Just brandy, wine, shots, whiskey, and what's it called? Moonshine? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
looks like one of those nights you're having. Okay.
Yeah, you drinking like a rhinestone cowboy. Okay, I got you. We have donuts.
My family owns 2 vineyards, so I'm pretty much set for life.
Okay, I like that. Me have donut. I expect you to send me an invite or at least a bottle. You feel me? Something from the 60s.
Come to Japan, man. I'll help you any day.
Okay, Kanishiwa. I'll be out there. Tokyo or where?
No, way more northeast, Hokkaido.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
just past the top.
So me have donut. How? So when I come to Japan, should I cold approach the women, or do I need to get a translator, or what?
Sorry, fixing my mic. Translator, probably a good idea, especially because of the xenophobia, what you call the intrepid racism. Like a lot of people will ignore you, even if you speak the language fluently, so they don't really care.
I know I'll be gaijin, right?
Yeah, gaikokujin, yeah. You're pretty much a gaijin, and a lot of foreigners actually don't notice it, but a lot of stores have a notice board on them, which basically says no foreigners allowed, but it's written in a very old kind of kanji. So, like a lot of people don't ever notice it. And a lot of times when you go into a store, and you didn't notice a sign, even the owners will ignore the fact that you didn't notice the sign. They will still help you out, but they will still treat you like shit at the same time. So, like it's weird. But no, really, like the best
So
advice I can
so
give
hold on,
you
let me ask you
is,
this, Mia Donna.
yeah, find a friend if you
Should
want to
pe-
come here.
so should
Seriously.
Okay, yeah. I actually do have a friend. So what about, so should the dudes that travel there, like the passport bros, should they, like, what is their recourse for looking for a wife, or should they just pay for an escort or a prostitute out there and just have fun? What you think?
Um, I mean, pay for it. You know, a lot of people here are very traditional. You know, especially when you reach the higher 30s and 40s and so on. So yeah. But on the other end, you know, like what they call access girlfriends is also a thing. You know, like married people here allow their husbands, especially women, allow their husbands to actually have a girlfriend every now and then. You know, most wives here also pay, you know, for their men to go and sleep with someone else. You know, because women are very independent here. You have your traditional woman, which can take over 10 years to court, and then you have the westernized women, which are, you know, usually from 36 and younger, which depends. You know, some of them are traditional, you know, whatever, you know, like it depends on the person. Yeah.
Hold on, 10 years of courting. So
I mean,
this is,
some of them, 10 years is actually very low. Some of them can take up 20 years. It
yeah,
really
no,
depends on, yeah, where your values lie, when you met them. A lot of women, you know, like if you meet them, you know, your first impression as a stranger, cold approaching, as you guys say, your first time. If they are one of those kinds of people that actually do take a lot of years, they will straight up tell you, "I'm sorry, I'm just not interested." And you know, like, because they really do already have someone that is in the process of already doing that for 10 plus, you know, how many ever years.
yeah, that is wild. And I'm not refuting what you're saying, because I knew Russian Russian and Ukrainian chick, and she said that the bare minimum for them to even consider a relationship is like 1 to 2 years. So they're courting for like 1 to 2 years, and then they determine after those 2 years, are we going to pursue this? So it's like a 1 to 2 year probationary period. What you're saying is that where you're at is sometimes 10 to 15 years. And this is what I was talking about, where some dudes are just saying, like, look, after 15 years, I still may not even be able to lock this chick down as my wife. So in that 15 years, I'm gonna just fly all across the globe and just be smashing chicks left and right. These chicks is not gonna complain about the size of my Johnson. They not gonna complain about my height. They not gonna complain about my financial status. It's just unleashing the cheat code and the shortcut, and you're just putting it at on steroids. So the courting, for many, a lot of dudes are just checking out and saying, what exactly am I courting? You're not a virgin, so why am I courting you as such? You don't have a low body count, so why am I courting you as such? Now, it's not all guys, but many of the guys are checking out, and it's a significant amount too much that women are actually complaining. They're wanting the old simps back, the simps and the white knights that just did for chicks and didn't even ask questions, dudes that would just be stepping up to be a stepdaddy, even if it was a thankless position. I'm not saying that someone shouldn't be a stepdaddy. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do any of this stuff. If it's your money and you want to be a simp, you want to be a chimpanzee, you want to trick off your money, it's within your civic rights to do that. But just don't try to promote this as some sort of glorious lifestyle for everyone. You may be content and satisfied with that lifestyle, and others are not. So you don't need to demonize others and say, hey, they're not living the same lifestyle as me. Simps are needed in the society, right? They kind of balance things out. Are they annoying? Yes, but it's a messy job and somebody has to do it. Because if you're looking
Yeah,
and saying,
they keep the OnlyFans girls busy. Yeah.
correct, they keep the OnlyFans girls busy, they pay for it, and then dudes that got the real ism and the real game come and smash those chicks for free. They do need a purpose, right? You may not have all the time in the world to be texting her and talking to her on the phone. You just have the time to come through and beat the guts up. But in that period, that intermittent period where she still needs some attention, that's where the simp comes in with his cape, comforting her, consoling her. We all have a part to play. Exactly. So I'ma come and beat the guts after, and then Big Rig gonna come and save her. That's how it works. Big Rig, you coming to the rescue or what?
That's what
Big
I
Rig
don't do, brother.
rescues.
That's what I don't do.
Big Rig slaps
yeah.
Big Rig stamps.
Big Rig's like, man, I fall back.
Yeah, that's, I leave that to the mothers, man. Y'all have that.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, we gonna start wrapping it up soon. If there's anybody else that want to just come up and say, will be your opening and closing. Otherwise, we gonna go around. Me have Donut. Thank you for coming up and giving that insight on Japan. I'm gonna have to pick your brain a little bit more on that, because I was planning on going to Japan, but I don't want to. I actually was supposed to go during the height of the pandemic, and then everything got shut down. Maybe that was some divine intervention, because I don't want to go up there and get caught up with some yakuza, or smash the wrong Chong Li or Mai Ling, and have some Japanese thugs after me. But me have Dona, go ahead and give us your closing remarks based on everything that was said tonight and anything that you want to add. Go ahead, bro.
Well, can I just respond to you first? No, man. I mean, like, really, the odds of running into the Yakuza are really pretty low. I mean, that's not a thing. Not a thing you really have to worry about. And if you ask most natives here, they will actually, tell you where most foreigners hang out. So there's a very high likelihood that you can run into a lot of foreigners, especially from France and England and so on, at a bar. So more than likely, you'll always have someone nearby that can speak some level of English. So nah, man, it's really not scary or anything. Let's see, towards the show tonight. Very awesome, man. Always super happy being here. Cold approaching goals today is horrifying today. Like I said earlier, compared to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, cold approaching goals today is scary as fuck. Especially because a lot of them think that, a lot of goals today think that the worst that can happen is a girl can say no. But we as men know that that's not the worst thing that can happen, right? Like, you can get insulted in about 500 different ways just talking to a random girl on the street, and especially when you guys talk about going to the gym, that can be so much worse. So, at the end of the day, what guys need to do today is still build up that practical experience, which so very few guys out there actually still have. Just speak to a lot of women. It doesn't matter where. Just obviously try not to do it at the gym every time. Like, you're probably gonna get punched the fuck out. So try not to do that at the gym. But other than that, yeah, very fun show, very enlightening. Thanks for having me here, drunk or not. Yeah, that's it.
Nah, I appreciate you, me Abdona. Do you got like Instagram or anything like that?
No, sorry, man. No, I was born and raised in Africa. I didn't have like any of those social things like Snapchat or Twitter or whatever. I had Facebook for something like 2 months, and then I deleted it because it was worthless.
Yeah, no, I
We
totally
appreciate you,
understand.
bro.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming. I was just looking for another way to support you or reach out to you. But yeah, if you got like an email or something, if you could just put it in the back chat, or otherwise we'll just catch you on the next episode of Easily Rigged. So that way, one of these shows, when we do something, whether it's about passports, foreign traveling, then you can give your insight based on, your
Hmm.
African descent and you being in Japan, because a lot of people will say, hey, I traveled to this state or this country, but they don't really have enough experience to speak on it thoroughly. You're there dealing with Japanese locals daily and regularly. So I
In
think you
real
have a lot
time.
of insight, yeah, in real time, and you can help a lot of people avoid certain mishaps. There's a lot of people that travel overseas and get into trouble. Some go looking for trouble, and some inadvertently find it. So
Mm.
just these discussions and steering people away from, hey, you don't want to go here, or you saying, because the way the media portrays it, if I hop off the plane, I might run into Yakuza. But you saying no, it's not as big as the thing as they portraying it. Kind of like how they try to make it seem like every black American is a drill rapper and has participated in a drive-by in Chicago. That's just a bit overblown and not realistic, as well as you're saying about the Yakuza. So if you do have an email or a contact information, just put it in the private chat and we'll get back to you. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next stream. Me have donut. Thank you for stopping by. And if you
Yes,
have
sir.
any last statement, I'm gonna drop you down.
Wait, me?
Yeah, I was saying, did you have anything else that you want to say before I drop you down? Because we're about to go around and close it out.
Oh, okay. No, no. There's just one more thing. Yeah, like even Andrew Tate said it himself. If guys think they can actually go to places like Russia, or the Ukraine, or to Sweden or Norway, or most places in the Eastern Europe, if you think you can go there and just be a passport bro, go and look for a potential spouse or something, you're in for a massive surprise, because guys are not going to allow you to just go there and pick up a wife. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account or what you think you own in
Mm.
real estate. So yeah, a lot of places, you have to stay away from, especially also in Japan. There are certain areas where you can pick up, like Asian women, and there are certain areas where if you talk to a woman, yeah, I'll give the random advice some other day. Anyways, this was
Oh,
really
that's some
fun. Thank you
game
very
right
much.
there, though. They need to hear that.
Yeah, this was awesome, guys. Thank you very much for having me. I'll see you guys around. Maybe next time. Yeah, no, I don't have an email. I'll add you guys, subscribe to you guys, whatever. Yeah, I'll see you guys around next time.
Hey, you're
Appreciate you,
always
bro.
welcome to come back.
Yeah, me have Dona. You already know you good over here with us. You can subscribe to this channel. Looks like you already done. And we all have our own individual channels. So you can type in Be Easy That Dude, Big Rig Slaps, M3 TV News. So you can subscribe to that in addition to this channel as well. Your insight is definitely invaluable. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down.
Yeah,
But what he said was absolutely true,
man.
especially when it comes to, we already seen one of the passport bros was going over there in Brazil and was bragging about how he's smashing those women. And what did the men do? They ran him up out of there. So if you
Hmm.
are going over there to do that, don't self snitch, bro. We are in this snitching era where people
Hmm.
have to snitch on themselves. Like, man, Big Rig,
Clout.
I'm pulling up to San Jose to sell all of this dope. If you going to sell dope, you don't need to announce it. Man, I'm going to San Jose and I'm finna smash every fine Latina chick that I see. Now you put in the Latin men on guard, like, oh, you trying to come and smash our women and only our women specifically? We about to push the line on you. So you need to be more strategic, more mindful how you moving, and stop being so thirsty and desperate. Go to Brazil, go to Japan to enjoy the scenery, enjoy the landscape. And you know what? You're going to fall into some coochie just accidentally, incidentally. You don't need to make a broad the reason that you're traveling abroad. You could travel abroad, but not for a broad.
Hold on.
Go ahead, M3.
Hey, I'm just gonna keep it short, but salutes to you guys, man. This definitely was like another awesome stream, man. Hey, man, you guys, man, be articulating some good bangers. So, with that being said, I'm about to be out, you guys. But definitely salutes to you, Be Easy. Salutes to you, Big Red, and keep doing what y'all doing.
Yeah, we appreciate you too. Dude, this looks like earlier on the stream, man, dude was on your helmet though. That Jimmy dude, boy, he was calling you all kind of MFers, and I was like, this boy.
Yeah. Who was that, M3? That was one of your guys from Twitch. You invited him or something, bro?
What's going on?
Oh, hell to the no. I don't know that dude. You know?
Oh, okay.
He got it set up and everything, bro. He was on like Donkey Kong.
I thought he was following like Joe to go or whatever, you know. Especially was like, hey man, we had
y'all got on Joe's hair, dude. Though, is that how y'all was ending him though? Y'all said he needed a haircut, bro.
No, he said he needed a haircut. I just referred him to Supercuts. Well, I actually told him not to go to Supercuts. He need to go to one of these brothers, one of the black barbers, unless he wants a mullet. Then go to Supercut. But if you want like a taper, a fade, or
they'll bring him back.
Look, man, I don't recommend anyone to go to Supercuts. I mean, I used to go there like once.
Hey, you know what? You better not ever say you went to Supercuts, bro.
That's why I would buy.
You know what? I'm about to almost through my phone, bro. Almost told Be Easy to drop you right now, bro.
I was about to.
Wait, hold on now.
He said I went there like 2-3 times.
But I had a coworker, right, who recently went there just to get her eyebrows done. And boy, man, they done messed one of her eyebrows up, looking like The Rock. So, yeah, man, never go to Supercuts.
Yeah, you didn't need to tell me that, brother.
Thank you.
Look, I only went there just to get my hair washed, you know.
M3 basically said, "Don't ever drink bleach." Like, thanks, bro. Thanks,
don't
bro.
drink spoiled milk. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Good night. Yeah.
For sure, brother.
All right, y'all.
Go ahead, Big Red.
No, man, this was a good one, though, bro. I appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everybody that came out and rocked with us, man. You know, it's another day, man. Another good stream. Shit.
Yes, sir. You want to keep it short and sweet, and I think we've covered pretty much. So I don't really got too much else to say. Thanks for everyone that came through to the chat. Me have Donut, Joe to Go, Intrepidus, Bruiser came through, Sister Inania, M3, Intellectual Soapbox, Arshawn came through, Johnson Different came through. Who else do we got in here? Shout out to Marcus. He came through and represented. Shout out to Joe to Go, and shout out to Joe's Uncle Jimmy. Shout out to Moments with Mickey Red. And ESO Hopeful came through, setting the Record Straight Network. Daryl Long came through. So yeah, it looks like we had a very fruitful stream. A lot of people came through and represented. They stayed for a good time, not a long time. Miss Polly came through with a default kind of profile.
Right.
And I think that was everybody. OG Patrice, can't forget about OG Patrice, and New Growth slid through. So yeah, it looks like we had Wally. I don't know if Wally came through, but shout out to Wally anyways. Okay. I might have missed that one. I know Arshawn came through. I didn't see Wally, but shout out to Wally.
Victor Freeze.
Oh, Misunderstood. Yeah, shout out to Victor Freeze. Victor Freeze came through and dropped some heavy game. Lady Sheree, she didn't come through, but shout out to
she popped up. Yeah,
so shout out to her. And yeah, this was a dope stream. So we gonna go ahead and hit y'all with a couple visuals, and we out of here, man. We gonna play our final visuals and then the outro, and we are out of this piece. This has been another installment of Easily Rigged. Easily rigged.
You are now tuned into another installment of Easily Rigged. This broadcast will be uncompromising, unfiltered, uncut, and unrehearsed. Your support for the program is immeasurable. Thanks to everyone that has contributed to our growth, you are appreciated. Be easy, dad dude. Big Rig slaps two of the dopest to ever do it, you feel me? Put some respect on their name. Enjoy the broadcast.
You are now tuned into another installment of Easily Rigged on the Knowledge and Relationships platform. Your viewership and support is immensely appreciated, and for that, we thank you.
Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. There's a lot of niggas that say they real. To me, that shit is far-fetched. Them cats is pussy. They really is on some feminine stuff. I ride up on them with the 40 ounces. It's the definition of adrenaline rush. What it do is sweet like cinnamon puffer. My niggas is rough like pillow pads. Grew about on Mary Mac, but I used to hang on Willow Pass. These homes that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. For the zip lips when you get hit. When the fifth spit, flat line in your fit hit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like Buku. For the cocaine, they go cuckoo.
You are now tuned into another installment of Easily Rigged. Dad dude, Big Rig slaps two of the dopest to ever do it, you feel me? Put some respect on their name.
Knowledge and relationships